Yo, what's good, people? It's your boy Ycee on my live, number one. Ain't nobody but a Don Tiny Entertainment Mafia. And right now, you're hanging with my girl Raro Lae on the Raro Lae show. Don't go anywhere.
She always get the show and always get this interview. I cannot get enough of her. I'm watching part two. Everything that's going on lately. She be Raro Lae. It's the Raro Lae show.
What's up? It's your girl Raro Lae with the Raro Lae Show, and right now we're here with international artist Too Much Sauce, Too Much. Yes, I'm here with Ycee himself, all the way from Nigeria. Ycee, how are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So from the beginning of your journey, one of the main songs that really brought you to light was your song Kondo featuring Padaranking. How did that song come about? But even actually, no, let me take it back a second. How did you begin your transformation? Because since that song, you obviously have evolved so much throughout this musical journey. Take me through this journey that you took.
I think music for me, initially started out as a hobby before it transitioned into like a full-fledged profession. Right. So, I mean, I try as much as possible to infuse as much of my daily experiences into music. And, I mean, we recorded Kondo in 2015. That was coming after, a brief break I took from the music industry to just work on my brand and my sound. My label was also restructuring and everything. And I felt, we all felt as soon as we recorded that song, we were all like, okay, I think it's time we started releasing music again. And we put that song out, and, a lot of people started paying attention to Ycee as opposed to before Kondo dropped. So I think Kondo was pretty much like, the John the Baptist that got everyone's attention.
Yeah. Because obviously, like, what they say about the overnight sensation. Like, the overnight sensation didn't actually happen overnight. Like, you're putting in mad work for years before, like, people are like, oh, it happened overnight. Yeah. So one thing that did stick out to me is that you said it started off kind of as a hobby. So I definitely know that you were studying marine biology in school, and you actually are enrolled in school right now. How are you able to balance both of these things at the same time? For me, I think school was something that actually came after I got my record deal with Tiny Entertainment. So it wasn't a situation of, or probably I had been, attending classes and going to school before I started making music and got signed and popularity and all that. So at the time I got into Unilag, when I got my admission, it was around the same period that I was off the scene from music. So I just felt, okay, let's just, use this time to focus on school. And pretty much I was just going from school to the studio. I wasn't, making any public appearances. I wasn't going clubbing. I wasn't doing any of that. Just putting in that work.
I was just underground pretty much. So we released Kondo in 2015. It was, I remember so well, a day before I had an exam.
Wow.
And, everything, I just slowly started seeing my life transition from, like, because the song dropped the day before exams, and, before that day I'd been in school.
I have to ask, how did you do on these exams?
Well, I didn't fail. So, I mean,
C's get degrees.
As long as, there's no red ink on that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I remember going to school. I remember going into the exam hall that day before everything. And, a lot of people whispering, oh, that's the guy that has that song with Padaranking. He just dropped the song with Padaranking. They're like, oh, I didn't even know you're an artist and everything. So it all started building up to the point where, we dropped the video. The video was directed by Clarence Peters. And everyone was like, yeah, that's that guy that has that video with Clarence Peters and featured Padaranking. So it was, I think, fame just, it kept increasing day by day. And then, we dropped Jagaban. That's where everything just...
Jagaban definitely
changed
crazy
everything.
Too.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, it was all just, trying to balance out. It became like a 24-hour thing. But right now, I had to defer my admission for a year because I had a lot of projects lined up from last year to this point. So I'm due back in school sometime towards the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, that's extremely commendable, the fact that you value your education at the same time as doing your music, because sometimes, a lot of times, we hear that people forget about it. But Studying marine biology is not an easy course. So, like, definitely, that is so commendable. And you're certainly setting an example for everyone who is around, like, and looking up to you and all your different fans.
Yeah.
So, I do want to ask you because I saw the new song, Something Slides, and your flow, the versatility that I definitely saw throughout that is throughout your different music, it's obvious that you continue to show us your versatility, but you switched up your flow. You showed us a different side of you that a lot of us haven't seen yet. What happened to bring about this collaboration, and how was it even recording the song and coming in and doing it?
I mean, you know, one thing about that song is it's one of the very few features where I'm actually, you know, there from the beginning of the song's creation. Like I was there when Seth started making the beat. We were actually all chilling at Fowl's place and we were about to get something to eat. So the guy that was in the kitchen was like, yo, what do you want to eat? And Fowl's was like, I'm not too hungry. Just give me something light. And, you know, unconsciously we all laughed about it and we said it a couple of times. And a couple hours later, we're in the studio. Seth was making the beat. And you know, we all just started saying, "Give me something light." And you know, we were able to like put a narrative behind it. So it was really a fun song to make, and the video as well was really a fun process. So Fowls is one of the few people I enjoy working with at any time, any day. Like he always, you know, anytime I'm on a feature with, even if it's a third party, and they tell me, okay, Fowls is going to be on this song, I know that okay, I just have to come correct because I'm. Sure, Fowls has already killed it, so yeah.
And you know what's something that's crazy? I didn't think about this before, but I actually interviewed Fowls earlier this year, and both of you guys are highly educated men, but then you still are able to bring it like 100% to the music industry. So maybe that's why you guys get along so well, because he's doing law, you're doing marine biology. You know, you guys have to share the blessings with everybody else, all this intelligence.
I mean, birds of the same feather, you know what they say exactly. Yeah.
So, with your Sony deal that you have, how do you feel like that has impacted your career, and how have you been working since you've made this deal with Sony?
Well, the thing about the Sony deal is, you know, first of all, it really doesn't affect my creative process. Or, you know, Tiny Entertainment still has 100% full creative control over my music. So, it was we signed a distribution deal with Sony. So pretty much we make the music, we give it to them, and they pretty much distribute. So
you're still in control of the creative process.
Definitely, 100%. Yeah. So, I mean, with them, you know, it exposed me to another level of, like, you know, a functioning establishment, because Sony definitely is a bigger music company, and as opposed to where, you know, like how we used to work before, probably, okay, we have a song, and, you know, we just recorded a song and want to put it out next week. You know, we could easily do that, but I think with these companies, they have like, there's a chain of command where everything has this protocol that they have to follow. So, I mean, you have to plan properly for a single. Like before you put a song out, you know, you could have turned it in. You have to turn it in like weeks before. Then it goes to the main office at the office at the main building in, I think in New York here, in New York, and you know, all that it takes roughly about a month. So what that made me understand is that, okay, when I'm in the studio, I always have to make the best of my time, because I know before you process this thing, it's going to take a long time. So you might as well just make enough music to just process, so whenever you want to release a song, it's available. So it definitely improved my work ethic and, you know, the way I just see studio time in general.
This is your first U.S. tour. How has it been thus far? And like, what is something that you definitely want to accomplish out of this tour?
I mean, so far so good. You know, we were at Rhode Island last night. It was a really wonderful vibe, and you know, it was amazing.
So I want to ask you something, because as of recent, obviously, there's been a major wave with us doing like international collabs when it comes to the industry, the music industry. But one thing a lot of people don't realize, and maybe they do realize it and they're overlooking it, is Africa has 1.2 billion people. Do you feel as if sometimes as African artists some African artists are forgetting that there's an entire market, and that although it is good to go international, it's not mandatory to do it because you have a whole market that's actually right in your doorstep?
Yeah. You know, I think it's there's a good side to it and there's the bad side to it
Right.
going international. I think it just all depends on how you approach, your how you're planning to take this music to the next level. Most
Right.
artists, like take Wizkid for example. Wizkid has pioneered. He has been like a chief pioneer of
Yeah.
the modern African sound over in the western part of the world.
Right.
And I think what that has done is like it's opened that channel
Right.
from like outside Africa to
Yeah.
Africa, Nigeria. Like a lot of people are like a lot more aware
Right.
of the music that's coming out of Nigeria and everything. But I think most artists, in a bid to go international, actually forget where they're coming from.
Right.
In the sense that you're not just doing this for yourself. You're not just trying to go international just to be like on the Billboard chart for
Right.
yourself. You also have like
A
a
whole
whole
fan base.
exactly
Yeah.
a fan base, a country, a genre of music that you're associated with, that it's up to you to actually let the rest of the world know about Africa, know about African music. And
Right.
at the same time, while we're all doing this, I think we all shouldn't just focus on one sound, because everyone is trying to jump on the whole Afrobeat wave and just try and make music so they can say
Right.
what I do is Afrobeat.
Yeah.
But there's also Afro soul. Like there's people that are singing in like native dialects, like
Yeah.
really really killing it. There's people that are doing like Afro pop. There's people doing Afro trap and everything. So I think it's up to us as musicians to we shouldn't just want to ride one wave when we could
Right.
also create so many other waves.
Right.
So I just feel like all artists just stay true to themselves, and as far as you're taking Africa with you as you're going international, that should be the goal at the end of the day.
Definitely. So I have to ask you, what are you working on in the future? What should we expect from you?
Right now, I'm just I just put out my EP. That's been doing really well. We thank God. I've got a new single coming out before the end of the month.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
Wait,
like,
before the end of August?
yeah, like
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Okay.
And it's produced by Ade. Ade produced Juice and everything. So
Okay.
it's one record I'm really looking forward to put out. I'm currently in the studio working on my album while I'm on tour. So
Okay.
I mean, there's gonna be a lot of amazing music, like a lot more
Yes.
music before the end of the year. So we're looking at
That's dope.
the album should be ready for next year.
But besides from music, do you have any outstanding goals that you're trying to achieve before the end of this year?
I think right now, I'm just trying to perfect the album and just focus on music. But I think in the near future, I'm definitely going to be, dabbling into fashion and
Oh, nice.
yeah, just I think my style of fashion, the way I approach fashion is quite different. Because
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I try to dress as simply as possible, but somehow, some way, it just becomes something else. So I just think I feel like I should be able to influence the fashion of the Nigerian
Right.
youth and young people. So in the near future, hopefully, we're gonna be able to float a proper fashion line. And yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. So, in this new music that you have coming out and everything, are there any particular people that you're working with in the future?
I mean, yeah, I've been working with a lot of artists from back home, Nigeria. I've been working with artists from outside Nigeria, South Africa, Africa.
Nice.
Artists from
We got any names or?
I'm not really going to name names right now. It's all the projects are all top secret, so don't worry.
You can't even give us a hint, like something.
Well, I mean, I'm working with musicians.
Okay.
It's
top secret.
yeah,
Top secret. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for sitting down and coming on to my show. It's been amazing. Thank you. Real quick for the viewers that don't know your social media handles or your website, where can they reach you?
I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram with the same handle. IAM_YC. Facebook.com/IamYC.
Okay. Well, you guys heard it here. Make sure that you check out his new videos that are out, as well as his Instagram, his Facebook, Twitter, everywhere on social media, and check out super talented artists. I am so happy I had the pleasure of interviewing you. Thank you so much for coming on to the Raro Lae Show.
Thanks, Dad.
You have been watching the Raro Lae Show, and you are tuning out right now.
We're shouting,